Guilty Gear Strive. It's one of the biggest anime fighting games in the world right now, and known to be one of the easiest fighting games to get into as a beginner. With a unique art style, diverse cast, and interesting game mechanics, it seems like an easy game to learn and improve in, right? Right? How wrong I was. My Guilty Gear journey starts way back in the distant summer of 2020. I originally got into the game after stumbling into one of the soundtracks on YouTube while I was grinding games on League. Coincidentally, the song playing is in the background. And with that, my Guilty Gear music addiction began. Roar of the Spark, Disaster of Passion, Let Me Carve Your Way, Crawl, the list goes on and on. If you haven't listened to the Strive soundtrack, I highly recommend you do. And honestly, you could probably just stick around here because it will most definitely be in the background of like pretty much all of my Guilty Gear related videos, because there is so much to talk about with this game. But back to the main point. After finding all these, I inevitably started seeing the music videos they put out with the songs, and having some experience with fighting games through the Street Fighter and like literally all of the Ninja Storm games. Video coming soon. I thought my skill set would transfer over pretty well. Spoiler alert, it did not transfer over pretty well. So after skipping through all the tutorials, I immediately went to find out what character had one trick and I ended up settling with Ralmithal Valentine. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say the main reasons I chose her were A, because she has floating swords like Aurelia, and 2, because she looks like Jotaro from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So with this, my brief training arc began with arcade mode, and boy was I humbled. Going back to the brief moment where I mentioned Street Fighter and the Naruto Ninja Storm games, both of these are definitely deserving of a video themselves, but for the sake of time, while playing Street Fighter, it did somewhat teach me the fundamentals of traditional fighting games, but Super Bronze was the highest rank I remember even reaching while I played, so I'll leave you to come to the conclusions as to why that didn't help my experience. Naruto Ninja Storm, on the other hand, is one of the only games I've actually ever been good at, since I've literally played every installment of the series, and pretty much every Naruto game that was ever released for that matter. But the only problem with this is that while Ninja Storm is in fact a fighting game, it's not a traditional fighting game, which basically is just the equivalent of being good at computer science while you're in a touching grass competition. All of this is to say that I couldn't even make it through arcade mode with how bad I was. Nothing made sense, and it's not like I could go to a mode to learn the game without the pressure of an enemy constantly trying to kill me or anything. That would just be crazy. But anyway, with a few dozen losses to easy CPU players under my belt, I felt like I was finally ready to play online. Fast forward 3 years of never touching the game again, due to trauma-induced PTSD for how many times I got perfected, I'm finally willing to give the game another try. I forgot what actually led me to start playing Guilty Gear, specifically again, but it comes after a stream of other fighting games I tried my hand at, with varying degrees of success in. Example being Dragon Ball FighterZ, DNF Duel, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, Guilty Gear Xrd for like 2 hours, and yes, I even played that one free idle fighting game. But with all this experience under my belt, I was ready and motivated to challenge the Guilty Gear floor ranked system again. Going back to the drawing board, I ended up switching from Ralmithal to a character that more matched my playstyle that I cultivated with other games. Because going back to Ralmithal just felt so slow and clunky. I ended up buying a DLC character called Baiken for reasons, and I started off doing it the right way this time, and actually sat through the stupid amount of available tutorials that I put off last time. It actually has some decent bread and butter combos. For those who don't play fighting games, these are just the bare bones simple combos that you can land more often than not. While not optimal in the slightest, they make learning the fundamentals of the game a lot easier. Anyhow, with all this under my belt, the game for me will start finally clicking, and I would actually start improving. I'm pretty sure I started around like floor 4 and ended up on floor 6 in about a day. Also, going back to the whole floor system, for those people who don't play the game, the rank system goes from floor 1 through 10, and the rank above that called Celestial. You get placed based on how you do against the CPU opponents in the beginning, and there's a soft reset in rank every month. But with this improvement, I was pretty much hooked. In the mornings, I watched high level replays the moment I'd wake up. I'd be listening to the soundtracks in the gym, and I'd even be studying combos while I was at work. I was not doing my job. All of this culminated in me hitting floor 8 in about a week, and this is where I ended up somewhat plateauing, a story shared by many Guilty Gear players. At this level, I started running into this character called Bridget a lot in my games, and getting absolutely whooped every single time I played against her, and just had no understanding how to really play against her, even after watching multiple matchup videos. So I opted for the next best thing, playing her myself and understanding her pitfalls so I'd know how to play against her as Baiken. And let's just say, I'm still looking for those pitfalls. While Bridget isn't the strongest character in the game, she's extremely difficult to play against if you don't know what to look for. Her kit revolves heavily around mix-ups, which is basically just breaking your opponent's defense by switching up your attacks. This extremely effective playstyle, mixed with her high mobility, really resonated with me, and my playstyle throughout other games. So with a lot of experience and binge watching Diaphone, one of the best Bridget players on the game, I ended up eventually getting to floor 10 in about 2 weeks. At this point, I wasn't really focused on increasing my rank or anything, but I just wanted to get better at the game. But after one of my sets, I received a notification that I haven't seen before.
Wow!
Celestial, the highest rank you can achieve in the floor system. The rank that the Bridget GOAT plays his games in. And with this, a new goal was born. Hit Celestial. So the way this challenge works is that you have the choice to play on the Celestial floor, and you need to win at least 5 of 6 of your games. And with that, you'll be promoted to the Celestial rank. With rank 10 and Celestial just being 1 division away, surely the skill gap wasn't that big, so I expected it to be difficult, but definitely within my capabilities. I mean, I reached the challenge without even explicitly trying for it. Let's just say that's not how it went. I actually don't remember getting a single win the first challenge I had for Celestial, or the 5 times I qualified for it afterwards. At this time I was employed, but not exactly working. It's something I'll get into in another video, but all that really meant to me was that I had nothing but free time to run it back. And run it back I goddamn did. My sleep schedule at this point was pretty much non-existent, and I'd literally just wake up, go to the gym, play Guilty Gear the entire day, sleep, and do it all over again. This continued for about a week or so, until I finally realized what I was doing. Somewhere along the way, I lost sight of the goal that I had, of simply getting better at the game, and I was just focusing on winning. I was just hoping that one of these times I'd get lucky and cheese my way through the challenge. And while that definitely was a possibility, even reaching it that way wouldn't mean anything. So I took some time to go back to the practice tool and reteach myself the basics. Blocking, Oki, safe jumps, fuzzies, frame tracks. I finally started to understand those more in-depth fundamentals that I just skimmed over beforehand in favor of honing what I already know. And with all this training under my belt, I returned to the ranked tower. I started noticing so many more mistakes that my opponents were making that I hadn't seen before. Even in my wins, I'd go back to my replays and study what I did right and make sure to use that in my future games. I'm not gonna lie, there's definitely a big skill discrepancy in Celestial. You can either be getting matched with a seasoned veteran who lives, breathes, and edges to Guilty Gear, or a floor 10 player who ended up in Celestial that cheats his way through. Probably like playing Mei or something. But yeah, I ended up going like 5-0, and honestly, I can't even say for sure if it was due to me improving or just the luck of the draw. I'll most definitely take credit for it. The whole experience pretty much taught me that achieving goals you set for yourself can definitely be reached by chance and luck, but hard work plays a big factor as well. If I expected to just sit around and have wins come to me, I'd definitely still be sitting on floor 8 or something. I guess the moral of the story is bitch or something, I don't know.